If you're tired of not making progress and you're ready to be the artist you know you're meant to be, you're in the right place. You're listening to the Singer's Path podcast. The Path, or Performing Artists Training Hub, will cover everything, including singing tips that actually work, advice from top industry professionals, and life-changing mindset shifts. Out with the starving artist and in with the thriving artist. I'm your host, Sarah Bishop, professional singer, actor, educator, and entrepreneur. I'm not afraid to speak the truth and stop the gatekeeping of quality information so you can actually become the artist you dream of being. So let's get on the path, shall we? Even though we're all on our own journeys, it always helps to have a guide.
Hello. Welcome back to the Singer's Path podcast. It's me, your host, Sarah Bishop, and I am with one of my favorite people today. We got Stephanie Park in the house. Welcome, Steph.
Hello. We've been kikiing before this, so we're already goofy.
Yeah, and this is not even a happy hour. Already goofy. I've done happy hour episodes with DJ.
Completely sober.
Completely sober. Wait, no, that would be so fun. If you're interested in doing that again, if you guys like the Kiki episodes, I did do them with DJ. Stephanie knows DJ because we went to college together, where I was definitely drunk. And it was hilarious.
Do I trust myself? Who knows? We'll find out together.
Stephanie, there is the most painfully cringy. I literally was so nervous to post it. I was delighted by the outcome of it, actually, but I was so scared to post it. I wasn't even sure if I was. We weren't drunk during this. We were just hot as fuck because it was like the hottest day of the year. But was it that year? What, that one? We did an episode where we did something called voiceover roulette. And let me tell you, the amount of cringe that is existing in that fucking... your eyes right now, you're like, oh no.
I want to hear. Well,
you need to watch. You need to listen.
I'm so curious.
No,
I'm super curious.
Maybe my listeners fucking hate that episode and I just like it. So sorry, everyone. But I think it's funny.
Leave a comment. Leave a review.
No, so if you hate this fucking podcast,
send Sarah an email. If you hate the podcast, email or rate. What's a different podcast? Any competitors I can tell them to review.
No, I don't even know. I don't even know any competitors. I'm like, if you hate the podcast,
I'm pro competition or like in a, you know what I mean. I don't
like
think
a friendly,
it exists even.
but I don't even know any people that have one actually. Like I'm not even paying attention to other people's podcasts, so like I don't even actually know.
Slay.
But if you fucking hate this podcast, my name is Becky. Okay, like I'm not.
There we go.
My alter ego's Becky, and she is crazy. I feel like
my name is Samantha.
Samantha and Becky, if you hate us. If not, go tape that like button and share this. No, I will absolutely say that at the end of this episode. I do every single time. And
Nice.
I was just telling Steph before we started recording, I appreciate the grace as I'm getting better at learning to weave, offers into these episodes. And if you've listened and, sometimes I go on and on and on about something, thank you for listening because I am learning and thank you. That's all I have to say.
Yes. Amen. I love that.
Let's fucking go. Anyway, so let's actually get to chatting. Let's get to chatting stuff. So Stephanie has been on Broadway and has done a bunch of shit and is super fucking cool and is super fucking fun. And
so funny.
We've actually, I know, it's like, this is what the podcast is. It's just me like fucking like vocal stemming and like ADHD on every sometimes I don't even have a through line thought. And I'm like, only people with wild minds would be attracted to this because it makes no sense sometimes.
That's comforting because I can definitely ramble as well, so that's comforting.
Yeah.
Also, I'm like, can everyone hear me breathing? I'm like, can you imagine if you're talking? I'm just like, you're like, Stephanie, could you not be a mouth breather, please?
That's Amanda's job. And Amanda, if you hear us out, give us a holler here. Give us a little sound effect as a thank you for not reaming us as mouth breathers to the public.
Right.
But I mean, listen, I've definitely said some weird shit on here, but I think people continue to listen.
I like it.
Yeah. So anyway, Stephanie actually and I worked together quite intensely recently to prepare
Yeah.
you to really be, kind of, we talk about like starting your own business and doing your own, but like really going off in your own of like owning your vocal journey, which is part of the reason why I wanted to have you on here, is like really diving into what it's actually fucking like to be a professional singer, the gigging the element that comes with it, the Broadway element that comes with it, the difference in that work for hire or creating your own opportunities. And I just think this is going to be such a really good example of having an experience of having a vocal transformation when you really commit to yourself and you put in work. And also like what you feel like you need to carry you through, in the differentiation of like, okay, I do gig work, like I get my own gigs, versus like, oh, I'm a work for hire, like paid Broadway actor. So that's kind of what I want to talk to you about, because you just embody that shit all the time. It's amazing.
Awesome. I have so many thoughts about all of it. And I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about your teaching, but I can say that we did work very intensely. It was the best investment ever. Like it changed my life. I have not stopped talking about it with all my friends. And also, I'm in a community of a lot of singers. And what I've learned just from talking about how these lessons have gone with you is how complex everybody, pretty much, especially professional singers, how complex their relationships with their voices are. Because that was a big turning point for us in our journey. I had this audition, my voice tightened up on me. I had a whole mentee B. I was like,
love a mentee
I don't trust
B.
my voice. I don't know what happened. I love a mentee B because they lead to breakthroughs, right? There's like a breakdown right before the breakthrough. And the breakthrough was with Sarah. We did an in-person lesson that was more somatic. And can I talk about this lesson?
Yes.
It was really amazing for me. It was very transformative.
So this is, okay. So I've kind of dribbled out this thing that I do. And I'll briefly speak about it here. The reason, and Stephanie and my friends who have done it have been like, why the fuck are you not fucking talking about this? And the answer is, A, it's new. B, it's a little bit of it's growing like wildfire without me doing anything. And I have to monitor. Here's the thing, guys. It's the highest way of working with me. It's a way of reestablishing private lessons. It is a private transformation container, and it's unconventional, in which we sign up to work very intensely together for about 3 to 4 months at a time. And I only take 3 to 4 people at a time. And currently, even without advertising it, it has a 6-month wait list. So that's why I haven't talked about it. And there's also, and I've been transparent, and I'll say this here because I love a lot of the former students that I've had. I continue to coach more directly in group lessons. And there was a really big shift that happened last year where I was coaching privately so much that I was destroying my own health. And I had to make a choice over how I was coaching and how I was generating my energy. So I will say this, perhaps I will finally, if you want to apply for this package that we're going to talk about, I have an application form. There's an application process. Currently, it's referral only, and it is only intended for professionals who are ready to make a large investment in themselves, into their voice, and really they're like, listen, fuck it. Like this, we're going all in. I'm fucking resolving these things. I'm going to develop a better relationship with my voice. And then we'll kind of get into Stephanie's experience talking about how she literally did this. But if it's kind of like, oh, I'm only interested in one off and I just don't get it, or, you're not a professional singer necessarily, you're a hobbyist, your goals are not going to require, again, you to really put a lot of skin in the game, to advocate for yourself and learn how to connect better to your instrument, then that's what I mean. It's not for everyone. And that's, I think, another reason. And if I'm so honest, I didn't, and if you're a former student listening to this, it's been a secret because, it's just about me reprioritizing how and what ways I'm able to devote my energy to certain things. And it really came down to my health. That's why it broke off like this. So I love you. And that's how it changed. Yeah.
No, it's also like, it's important to say that the energy exchange is high. Like you are investing a lot of time and energy into each other. And so that chemistry match is like very important. Yeah. And just so people know, I mean, if this does go on the podcast, my history as a singer to kind of give you an idea of maybe the kinds of students you're taking in a way. Yeah. I am a classically trained singer. I've been taking private lessons since I was 4 years old. I've had a career on Broadway. I was Eliza in Hamilton for a while. I did 2 other original Broadway shows. I've been taking voice lessons. I have a BFA in musical theater. Like I've been taking voice lessons at a pretty high level for like 30 years, pretty much. But I've never done something this intense where it was more than 1 lesson a week. And it's like having an actual mentor and just finally committing to, because like if you do 1 lesson, even 1 lesson a week or 1 lesson a month, which is what most one-off lessons are, because they're really expensive. And I understand you can't really get to the root of certain vocal issues, especially because a lot of them are mentally and emotionally tied. And that's why I say the energetic, emotional part of this is really important, because Sarah, I trust because I've known her for over a decade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know your heart and I trust you to carry mine. Mm-hmm. But I know it was exhausting for you to carry mine in that moment. You know, like I'm not ignorant of how much that required of you as well. So
well, it was
just to say out loud. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was, then again, this is why this is so tapered and specific. And why I just, when I was coaching so much, so consistently, like 40 hours a week, my voice was going, my energy was going, and it was difficult for me to be able to hold that space for that many people that much in a row, right? So it really came about learning how to pivot based off of what each of these groups needed, not just energetically and emotionally and like with my presence, right? I feel like I wasn't serving people to the best of my ability. But I wanted not only different tiers of working intensely based off of what people needed, but also price points. Because at the end of the day, as my training gets more and more intense, as I go up in demand, that increases the price. And, as a teacher, it really comes to a point where like you don't want to price out people you love. You know what I mean? Like that's actually a real thing. And I think
definitely.
And it's like it was just about tiering things to catch and hold people. And luckily, the other option to be able to work with me is group lessons, which most of my very loyal, I love you guys so much, students went into that container. And I value group lessons. That's something that I just simply love to do, is like connect with those people in that way. And I'm so glad that has blossomed into something that is that beautiful, that they're being able to hold themselves. It's kind of interesting because each one of them, we could talk about the isolation that is to study voice, but each one of them had kind of gotten to a point where I feel like in that container, they were kind of capping at a certain level, mostly because they weren't getting the validation that I think that they deserved by being witnessed by others. Like there's something really special about the group container, because it's like you get... Not only am I just being like, hey, and you could talk about this when we work together. Like sometimes it feels like this bitch is fucking crazy. She's telling me this sounds good. Like, what do you mean? Like, it doesn't sound good to me. I don't know if I like this. Like, is that accurate? Like sometimes you're in voice lessons and it's like, okay, I guess I can trust you if that's what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, I do trust you.
Yeah, well, thank you.
And then and then
you're like, yeah,
within it, yeah. I mean, yeah, I have no problems with that trust. And I also, if for anyone who needs to know, I also like vocal coach others. I think I also was projecting that emotional burden part onto you, maybe because I vocal produce other people, and so like I work very closely with singers as well, where I'm always. You have to hold a lot for them while they're sick. It's so vulnerable and it's so creative and it's so tied into their mental history, their traumas. So it's like I've had some breakdowns in this studio while I'm vocal producing someone else singing, in my booth. And I'm like, okay, I can't hold a lot of people. So like kind of figuring out my boundaries around that was maybe what I was projecting onto you.
No.
But it
it's
is a
true.
lot,
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, well, especially, so then it came down. So group is how I'm able to hold more people that I love and meet them at a price point and a level that makes sense. And
Totally.
I also have other teachers, right? So if you need those one-off lessons, like that exists. But what you're explaining with, I was like, I know there's something in my gut that knows that I have a gift that I can, if I devote a little more focus and energy, like you're saying, I spend my day preparing to be the container to hold people more. Then, like you said, it becomes energetically selective because it can also drain me and wear me out. Because, and you're right, like, but I think what ends up happening is when teachers splatter themselves so much that they, again, it's like it becomes a bit sloppy in a way, because it's like they're just next student to next student to next student. Like, you don't really remember where that person's at. Like, you have to read your notes. You have to kind of catch up. Versus like, no, like, we're in a dance together. And I feel like a lot of teachers just like shy away. They're like, you know, they don't, especially the energetic piece. They either don't know how to hold it. They don't feel comfortable holding it. They're like, that's not my job. I don't do that. And listen, I'm not going to like take on your emotional burden. That's where the boundaries come in. Right.
Definitely.
We have to learn. We have to learn that. But there's also a level of empathy and presence that needs to be there. And so like, let's talk about that for a second. So like, when you're vocally producing and you're holding people, like, what were you learning throughout that process? Because this is something I'm constantly in flux with. And actually I had to be really flexible with in both the container we did and group lessons. Like, so what was your experience?
Yeah, so kind of relating this to our lessons too, there's just so much trust that needs to happen. Like, they need to trust my taste, because oftentimes they'll come in with specific isms or phrasings or whatnot that one thing I'm very confident about is my musicality and my ability to help other people's musicality shine, right? And so luckily the people I've worked with, they do trust that. But that is hard, because I might take away something that you love to sing, and it's not until, luckily in a studio setting, you can hear it back immediately and know exactly what I'm going for. So that's been nice. Yeah. But that trust level is high. And then also you have to kind of dig people out of their spirals sometimes. Yeah. Especially with studio vocal recording, because you do get overly perfectionist. If you have any of that in you, that's going to come out strong. Once you see me like, once you see me flex pitching your vocals, a lot of emotions happen there, because I'm like, but then also it's like an understanding of pretty much every recorded vocal you hear online and social media, unless it says raw vocals, it's probably edited. And so that's like a good lesson for them. But I found like a deeper purpose in doing this, though, because I do feel capable of holding someone through, because of my own experience with my own voice and being in a recording studio. I feel capable, and I want to hold other people through their relationships to their voices. I want them to you don't have to love it. It's just like it's just like our bodies. Like, you don't have to love your body, but I do want you to accept it, and I do want to find the strengths in it. And it would be awesome if you left the session loving your voice, which is often what happens, but if not, that's okay too. So just kind of like holding someone while they're in a very vulnerable place and excavating how they feel about their voice in real time. It's a very heavy emotional lift sometimes, usually with artists. That I love. Like, I feel passionate about that.
Yeah, I think that's a really beautiful statement. And it kind of helps me wrap up, I guess, the point that I was trying to make too, is like the purpose for having multiple tiers and multiple ways of helping people at their different levels is different ways that people can feel supported that can be individualistic to that person's needs. So like I said, it's sometimes in group lessons that can work for some students. They can still feel energetically supported as long as the leader of the group, me, which I've had to learn to get better at, is capable of holding that space and being a leader in the capacity of like, no, we are all in this together, and this space, we are cheering each other on. That can actually be such a beautiful, energetic container. I've seen this trimester has been the first one where I've seen just absolutely so fast with breakthroughs, almost to the level of the way that we worked, but in a group, because it's charged with support from other people, and I only attract like the most fucking awesome people. And when they started to soften around each other, witnessing each other, it was like, it almost like I was still holding container, but like it elevated it in a different way and charged it in a different way, which was fascinating. Like, have you ever worked with like a group of people before?
I mean, that is reminding me more of like an acting class, for example. Like we both have taken from Laura Henry. We've both taken Meisner from her.
Yes.
So like I haven't done, I did Craig Carnelia's class over like 10 years ago where we would sing for each other. And there is something very special in that group class dynamic, I would say. I mean, I haven't taken your group classes, but I do know that from my personal one-on-one lessons that you are so great at holding it, but also not like therapizing it. You know, like you still have very professional boundaries within it while also being like, I can hold you here. And then also let's now use that to move on. What do we learn from that? You know, it's not a therapy session.
Right.
But you are so great at guiding me through it to like, let it flow through me, release it, and then move forward.
Yeah.
Whatever that is sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. I mean, honestly, so if you're curious about like, what the fuck is this? It's just very intense work. And sometimes like when you're working that intensely, about a month in, I'd say, well, it's usually a month or it usually happens like less than 6 to 8. It's about a month in. There's a breaking point that happens with pretty much every client that I've had.
My God.
And that's we can talk about that, but that's what I mean. I think teachers shy away from this, A, because they're not in this consistent dynamic with people. B, they're unsure of how to hold the boundaries, how to keep it obviously professional, how to instate what your strengths are. You know, I never go into this being like, I'm not a mental health professional, right? I don't have, but what I do have is empathy, and I'm learning to, like you said, with boundaries, with communication, with consent. Hey, is this okay if we're present with this? I'm anticipating there's something charged here right now. I can feel it. I don't know what the fuck gift that is. I'm a witch. I don't fucking know. Sometimes I can feel shit on you. And that's, I would say, if we're talking about like exhaustion, like holding people, that to me is the thing that was hard on my voice because I could feel people's voices.
Oh my God. I totally understand that.
I could feel their voice.
All of my emotions live in my voice. So if you're like, when you're a singer, oh my God, your mental state lives in your voice. And even, again, vocal producing and hearing other singers, you can hear so much of their personality in the way that they sing. It's just all tied in together.
It is. And so, but with that, when you are, again, again, another reason why I don't openly advertise this, it's an investment. This is the highest way you can work with me. It's it's not a not doable amount of money, but it's also like, it's going to make both of us show the fuck up. And so with that,
definitely,
that often comes with a charged energy. And I think when we come into this container, there's expectations that are there of like, oh, I have to do this. And then there's this softening that happens about a month in. So what was the softening for you, Steph? Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, also, I want to say too that I manifested finding you for this whole mentorship that we did because I had been taking lessons from all of my closest friends, or not close, all of my best friend singers, like those singers that I was like, you have exactly what I want to do. And I was taking lessons for a whole year from many different teachers. But I was like, I need something deeper. I had it on my vision board. I had Tori Kelly on my vision board. I had like a seamless voice. No, yes, 1000%. I had like seamless voice. Like I needed to find my mix. I wanted to have like no tension. Like these things were literally on my vision board where I was like, this has been problems for me for decades and I need to figure out a way to like actually excavate this or not give up. But I was kind of at a point where I'm like, I've been a professional singer. I've taken thousands of voice lessons. Like what the fuck else can I do to fix this thing? And that's why this whole mentorship happened, because I manifested it.
Oh my God,
it's
that's
true.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. No, it was on my vision board. I needed to dive deep because I was so frustrated by feeling like I was known as a singer in this industry, while also feeling like my voice was the thing that was limiting me as in every audition. Because I was like, well, that's that musical theater thing I can't do. Like that's that Mixie Belty thing I can't do. And yet that's exactly what people want of me.
Yeah.
So I was like, I need to fucking do something about it or give up.
Yeah.
And thankfully I didn't give up and I found Sarah. So, okay. So let's dive into
talk about this
I got
emotion.
you, girl. Let's dive in.
Like, okay, when you actually have the container in space, which by the way, by the end of this conversation, guys, if you're not someone going on tour or on Broadway and you still want to work on your voice, you want to work on the story around your voice, and you want to work on healing your creativity as an artist and all of that. We're going to talk about a way you can do that. But this is a good example on, wherein you are committed. We are at I call it touching an edge. You're finally reaching up against the root of this relationship with your voice. And there's a softening, there's a pimple pop. Sometimes I call it a pimple pop. It's like this emotional kind of burst that happens, and kind of explain it, like what you were rubbing up against and kind of the process of softening around it. And basically I'll explain kind of what it is and what happened after you explain your experience.
Yeah, totally. I'm like, how do I even start? I'm just going to word vomit. Hopefully something comes out of this.
Let's go.
So basically I had, in the first month with you, I had a bunch of auditions that felt like super belty mixy. And this is an area of my voice that was specifically why I wanted to work with Sarah, because I had this very specific goal of figuring out my chest mix and like having one seamless voice. And that is actually what we did end up doing, but I couldn't get there until I had released into allowing failure again. Like this, okay, how do I even, this is so much. Okay. So then I had this big audition that I had a lot of mental complexity around, and my voice really tightened up on me. By my voice, I mean probably the extrinsics. Everything was just tightening. I was like doing everything right. I was not drinking. I ate a certain way. I was like so healthy to a very, very type A, almost OCD way. The most I've ever done, where I was like, nothing's going to get in my way. I'm going to do everything perfectly by the book. But with that, because of the way I was feeling about it and not really addressing, everything in me was tightening up. So then for the audition, or the callback, I should say, it went okay. Like I didn't embarrass myself, but I definitely had a big mentee beat, because I was like, I can't trust my voice. And I'm a singer. How am I to move forward? So that's where the whole breakdown came. Then we had our lesson where we were navigating through my voice, the different registers, what was coming up. I think I was sobbing for 90 minutes straight, but we still fucking did it. We still were there to work. Yeah, we were there to work. And what I discovered was that this one part of my range, I had this very strong thought of, I will only love you if you can do this right. And that was something I really had to let go of. It was also like, when you had me releasing extrinsic muscles, it was very scary, because I realized that those muscles were very much tied into my inner parent, my inner critic, all of these things that were in the driver's seat of my life, vocally and mentally. And this is when I even got a tattoo redone for this, because what I realized was I had to have my inner child, my reckless, entitled, chaotic, messy, experimental, that part of me needed to be in the driver's seat, because I couldn't possibly release this tension when it was manifesting. The tension was a manifestation of my critic, of that part. And I will say it did feel scary, because that part of me was protecting me. Like, it's not like it's some devil. It's not like bad for us. It's just shouldn't have been. At a certain point, I was like thankful for it. It's gotten me this polish, it's gotten me this reputation. I feel very clean in my singing and whatnot, but it was inhibiting me from the next step, right? Like, I had to fail and just like trust fall into this next step. And so this next thing is like constant trust fall is how it felt once I was getting rid of my tension. Constant trust fall.
If you're a creative or a performer who feels stuck, burned out, or blocked, it's not your talent. It's your subconscious wiring and your nervous system. That's why I built the Singer's Path Inner Circle membership. This membership not only gives you access to exclusive content, live masterclasses, and support, but it also gives you exclusive access to the revolutionary Spotlight system, which is a neural rewiring program rooted in neuroscience and designed to help you finally feel safe succeeding and rewiring your brain to take action so you actually get the success that you've been desiring.
In this program that, again, is entirely exclusive to the Singer's Path Inner Circle, you do not have access to this unless you're part of the membership. You will heal that starving artist money story. You will look and heal your relationship with stage fright and your fear of being seen. And then finally, create from confidence, not chaos. And here's the thing, right now there is a founding member sale for this membership, which means that you can join and have this membership priced forever at less than $2 a day. Seriously, that's less than a subway ride. And it stays that low forever if you jump on this during this founding member launch sale. Prices will go up to $97 a month after January 7th. After the sale is over, it will be increasing forever. So join now and start 2026 as the artist who finally feels safe to shine. Go to the link in the show notes or find it at sarahbishopvocalstudio.com. And now we'll get back to our episode. Honestly, guys, like it kind of like, again, what happens when I'm creating these containers and learning, and there is also a trust fall for me as an educator because again, when you sit down and you commit energy to each other and money and you're like, we're fucking doing this, it turns into, and this is kind of almost the same thing when I had students that like couldn't sing on pitch, but then they paid me money. And so I had to sit there and fucking figure out how the fuck to help them. Right? Like in this container, it's almost like when all of the rules of pedagogy aren't going to apply and you're faced with a situation right in front of you, and it is your job as an educator to then like the only thing you have left to do is hold space and intuition. And that skill of learning that as an educator, I think is really what makes the best teachers, is the humility to move moment to moment. I think acting helped a lot with this. All I'm doing is I'm putting all of my attention on you and I'm feeling into you and trying to just move from intuition only, because at that point, like I said, when you reach an edge, there's only so much like exercise can do. If there's an energetic clog or block and you are at a point where your system is trying to release it, it becomes, and this is why I'm very transparent about it, and I really hope to continue my education and my capacity to be able to hold transformations like this, because I understand, with nervous systems and fight or flight and making sure it's trauma informed and making sure that ethically you are held and contained in a way that isn't going to make you worse for wear, right? We're not going to re-traumatize your body by not holding you in a container that doesn't feel safe or shocks your system once again and doesn't add a positive effect. So just know, like, as we're talking about this, and when I was working with Stephanie, I was gaining support from people that specialized in that to be able to hold such a container and learn how to do that, because it became more and more evident that, okay, at a certain level working with people, this is what it becomes. And it needs to be a safe place for the artists to land, to be able to feel supported, to walk through their own journey. Because I'm no guru, right? Like I don't fucking I can. What I do is I know a path. My gift is to hold space and listen, and so I witness and help you walk through yourself.
Definitely.
And and like, so basically what we did was an energetic clearing. So I would play music under Steph, and I was like, listen, this is present here with us right now. And if you feel safe to be with it right now, like the only thing you need to do is just allow it to be there. Can we harness the voice as a tool to recalibrate our energy and allow the stories that live inside of it to be present with us without the feeling of needing to change it, which is completely opposite of what most voice lessons are, right? You come and you're there to fix, right?
Right.
And at a certain point, if that's become like, we've basically tainted our relationship with our voice and our creativity, because it's all become about how can we deny what we are now. What it does is it splits that aspect of ourself and casts it into shadow. What I am right now is not good enough. I need to improve. And the tricky part is there is a paradox to it. Yes.
I know, because you have to fix from a place of I am already enough. This is good. Like it can't come from, the foundation has to be, this is good enough. I love this. I'm happy with this. It can't be like, this was what I learned in that lesson. Basically, I can't come from a place of like, fix this, do this right. Even if logically I understood everything vocally, pedagogically that I'm supposed to do, it's a completely different experience in your body and allowing those changes.
Well, and especially when, again, to a certain point, when you are trying to sing Tori Kelly actually, okay, well, and be able to do it 8 times a week. The thing that happens, and this is what I think most people don't talk about, is that there is an emotional aspect. There is a mental training game that happens. And again, this is not by any means mental therapy treatment. There is nothing like that.
No.
But it is creating safety within your system to dive deeper into nuance. And without running up against that edge, learning to hold yourself through the emotional charge and releasing whatever story is caught in there by witnessing it without agenda. Without doing that spatial clearing, you are not capable, the singer is not capable of going to the next level when they've reached that. So this, it's crazy.
Yeah. And I just want to say too, Sarah, you were so intuitive and like so I felt very, very held and safe, but also not therapized, which was perfect. And then for the student side too, it's like, I come from a lot of Meisner. I come from a ton of deep self work. So I didn't have any problems digging deep. Like I had no problems showing Sarah everything or going all the way there because I recognize that we can only improve as much as I open up. And, because of my experience as an actor, as a professional singer and all that, it was no problem for me to completely open up and delve deep. So it also does come like at a specific time. It is hand in hand with deep self-work. Yeah. Like if you're someone who is afraid of certain emotions, for example, like that is a separate practice too that maybe needs to be worked on. Yeah. I mean, that's a big thing. I think people are scared of certain emotions and certain emotions are labeled as negative when all emotions are actually a compass towards what we want and who we are. But it's very scary it's very uncomfortable for certain ones. So, going into that session, of course, it's like uncomfortable, but I had I was not closed off in any way to exploring whatever came up with you. So it was a very it felt very kind of divine in a way.
Yeah.
That because both of us were intuitively open and it felt like a very safe but even exchange, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's like this, it's sacred in your experience of being present with yourself.
Yes.
And it's a safety in which, again, all we really did, guys, and this, by the way, if you're like, what the fuck are they talking about? Okay. There's a new container.
It's definitely niche.
It's niche, but also not at all. It's very universal as far as, okay, if you have charge around your voice, I feel like every singer knows that they wear their heart in their voice.
Every singer has such a complicated relationship with their voice. This has come up so strongly for me lately. Okay.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's true. And so, and also, and I don't even think it even has to be voice. Every artist has a complex relationship with their art in some way.
Yes.
And if you're even interested in dipping your toes into this kind of work, where I'm going to explain what what this exact thing was that we did here in a second, but there is that brand new container that exists, the Inner Circle membership. That is what this does. It takes you through diving into your inner world and how it affects your art. And we unblock, we release, we reprogram neurologically what's fucking you up. And again, because I want to stay in integrity about how people are being cared for in the sense that it's ethical, right? I brought on advisors that specialize in those things professionally. However, I have to say this every time, and I know it's annoying, but this is to protect them and to protect you. Just be mindful.
Yes.
This is not treatment in this membership. Again, this is just introducing you to tools that are going to help you have a better relationship with your voice through hypnosis, right? There were therapists brought on, there's somatic practitioners, people that are teaching me how to do this work. But again, it is not treatment. It is not mental health therapy. However, you will have it's like a self-development process. So that is in the Inner Circle membership that is Black Friday is happening right now with all of that, the holiday stuff. There's going to be an ad that plays that actually explains it, so I'm not going to go too much more into detail. But what I'm going to explain here is in there. So this singing clearing thing that we've done, I've practiced doing before, actually, in group containers. My dear friend Jessie Marino, who owns Wild Essence, is one of the somatic practitioners that's helped me learn how to do this.
Amazing. Yeah.
And so I would go down and teach, and she actually taught me how to help people through these things and hold people through these things. If it comes up, right? I'm not advertising this, but this is something that surfaces, right? If it's there, what do we do? Right?
Right.
So it's somatic, and it's trauma informed in the sense that we are moving in consent moment to moment and checking in with self. Is this okay?
Definitely.
And if it doesn't feel okay, we don't have to, there's no element of needing to push yourself. It's more just being present with emotion. And how this sound clearing works is literally all you're doing is making sounds and noticing what it feels like in your body. That's it.
Yep. And noticing,
That's
at least for me, it was like noticing what thoughts come up, what emotions come up, what memories come up. That was a big one.
Stored
like certain
memories.
parts of my, and stories around specific parts of my range. That was so fascinating. Remember I was singing in that high soprano opera, and I was like, I feel like a child playing. Like I feel free and reckless, and like, this is play and this is fun. And then we went to those parts of my voice that were different. And then that had completely different stories and memories. And yeah.
And it's fascinating. I won't obviously give client details because it's confidential. However, I have had clients who have had entire memories and blockages stored on specific pitches. It's like no matter what the fuck we do, we can't figure out how to get them to balance on a B or a B flat for some reason. And then we spend time, and literally all it is like, it's just an invitation. Hey, like, clearly we're rubbing up against something. What if actually the prompt is, we don't need to change this. I just need you to be with yourself and listen to what's coming up. And if you're singing this note, and all of a sudden something arises of when you were younger, and you're like, oh my fucking God. And you go back and you're like, holy shit, I have like literally a memory stored there.
Yeah.
Like, and then all you do is you just be with it and you sing through it. Like, what was like, how did it feel to move through a place of, again, the softening, the running up against the edge and then feeling it shift? Like, do you remember if there were any like physical sense? Again, share which, I mean, that's very private. So do whatever, share whatever you want.
The thing is, I'm an open book. Yeah. With you, I'm always like, with you and your audience, and kind of just in general, I feel very open because I want everyone to know when they're going through these things that they're not alone, and that this is like a very normal experience, because it is very tough. Like, these emotional things are so scary. Okay, so your question, you said,
well, it was just like, how did the energy move? Like, what did it feel like? You said, you were kind of starting to talk about it. You felt this part, and then, then this story kind of surfaced, and like, if like physically, like, what did it feel like?
There were a lot of different sections, like different chapters throughout that hour. But like, for example, I think I can just do like a snippet. For example, there was one that was like A, B, C. That was like, I feel like I'm about to approach the edge of the cliff. I was like, this visual was very strong. And then you had me go to the D. I was like, C is my cliff. C is the cliff. And then I went to the D, and all of these thoughts like came rushing into me, and all this tension came in. And then you very gently helped me notice it. And then once I noticed it and started to release it, it did feel so scary, because not having tension when you've had it your whole life is very scary. And what it taught me, which was a very surprising thing, I was like kind of demonizing this critic parent thing, but then I was like, oh, I don't feel protected right now. Once I got rid of the tension in these notes, I was like, oh, I feel very bare, unprotected. I'm scared. I'm excited. I feel reckless. Like, there was so many. It was specifically emotions that I do avoid a little bit more. Like, entitlement was a big one that I don't really allow myself to feel often. I tend to judge it in others, and that was an interesting thing to be like, I am entitled to sing as loud and as ugly as I want. So that was a crazy one. Mess is a big one that I was like having to lean into, being messy, being chaotic, being angry. Like, these were certain emotions that I was kind of avoiding that I needed to lean into, which is why it felt like a trust fall. Yeah. But it did feel naked and bare and scary, unprotected. That I think the protection part of it was a big breakthrough, because it made me understand like why it was there and not be so angry with it. You know what I mean? Like,
right, because it's trying to help you.
it's trying to help.
Again, and it's like, and the cool thing is why somatic or mindfulness practices work so well. First of all, anything somatic basically is just, it's allowing the sensation to be there and just witnessing sensation without having to understand it. And I think that's very helpful for artists because we want to go into logic. Again, I want to understand. But also at the same time, it helps us not overthink things because the actual emotion itself, the energy itself doesn't have logic. It's stored in the body. All it needs to be is felt.
Yes.
And felt in a way where you can catch and hold yourself. Right.
Yes.
And so it's not, again, it's like, it's so helpful to work from the place of the body. We're already doing that. And it almost deepens your trust more to pick up on more.
Definitely,
Because it's like you're telling your body, like, I'm okay to be here with all of these sensations. And then that's when you stop missing the teeny tiny sensational adjustments that are necessary for incredibly advanced styles that people don't realize.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how did your vocal development shift after the emotional clearing?
Everything loosened up, at least like in my brain, the way that I was approaching these lessons, all of my P's and B's are probably going to pop a little too much. Sorry.
It's okay. It's
Sorry,
all right.
friend. But I had to let go of I'm going to sound like Tori by the end of this 26 package.
Because expectations, right?
I had to let go of the expectations. I had to move with curiosity. I had to be okay with sometimes riding the wave of like intense vocal curiosity where I was singing all day for hours and hours, just so excited about a breakthrough. But then I also had to be okay with, I don't feel like singing today. And you know what? I'm not going to. I mean, it's different per person. I'm a little more type A. I'm a little bit more of like, I'm Asian also because they won't see me. So I have this kind of more classical.
Just so you know, I'm
just
Asian.
So you know, I'm Korean. So I do have this kind of classical work ethic where I'm like, I must practice a certain amount of hours between lessons in order to get the most bang for my buck, right? And I had to let go of all of that side of me. And then when we kept moving forward, I was training my muscle of trust falling, which is what it felt like constantly because this sensation and the mental journey was so new. Like change is scary and it's painful, but it was fun because I allowed it to be fun instead of analyzing at every step. Why I'm not practicing this much today? Why am I not doing that? Why haven't I gotten to this breakthrough yet? Yeah. And I feel like it was interesting by the end of our whole package. I feel like the breakthrough happened literally the night before, like the final breakthrough of that happened like literally the night before our final lesson. It's kind of crazy what happens when you let go. I think that was like the biggest thing for me was I let go of all the control around it. And that was why all these vocal breakthroughs were allowed to happen.
Yeah. Because it's both, right? Like that's why I said paradox. It's both, because the problem is if you overanalyze, you overfix, you overcorrect, that's actually coming from a place of I'm not enough.
Yes.
This is never enough. So you have to embrace where you are in order to actually get where you want to go. It has to be through that. You have to hold yourself through that. But then once you do, and you're on the other side of the package, or you're the other side of holding yourself emotionally, and we're doing like pedagogical work, like you're learning a fuck ton about how to help yourself.
Yeah.
Then it's like you're better equipped to not only hold yourself through the emotions and the charge that exist in the act of being a singer and being an artist, but then you come out and you're like, well, I also know a lot about my instrument, so I actually know what's in my control over what I can do about this. It's really cool. I've never, I get like shocked. Honestly, sometimes I think about it and I'm like, what the fuck? Like it's been so beautiful to watch you transition into embodying like this new version, like what do you call it? Stephanie 3.0. What were you calling it?
Yeah, Stephanie 3.0. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I have a tattoo. I have like a giant phoenix tattoo on my thigh that is like an upside down treble clef because I have very light timbres in my voice. I have thin vocal cords. But my vocal cords are really thin. No, but really they are because I have a very light timbre. But anyway, the phoenix for me, which is like quite typical, but it's like different stages where I let certain parts of myself die. I grieve it, I honor it, and then I rebirth new sections of me. So that somatic lesson was like the impetus to this next section of my life, Stephanie 3.0, which is where I have my inner child in the driver's seat, and I'm approaching life in a much more colorful, messy, experimental way, which it really depends on the person. Like, most of my friends are the opposite, are type B. I tend to be friends with people who are messier and maybe less disciplined than me. And in which case, like, maybe your thing is going to be, what is your relationship to discipline? Like, and for me, it was, what is your relationship to surrender? That was like the constant thing. So it really is a case by case scenario.
Yeah. And I think it's like the biggest thing. And again, if any of this, this getting closer to yourself, this relationship with your art, right? There's containers to catch you in this, right? There's the month-to-month Inner Circle membership that really dives into this emotional relationship that you have with yourself that we're talking about. And then there's group lessons. If there's a little bit of that in there, there's also working with me more intensely. That's at like a medium price, right? Like I think it ends up, I don't know the exact price per lesson, but it's way more affordable. You do need pillars to be in there. And then if you're balls deep, like all in, like you're like, let's fucking go. I am ready for this to be, I trust you. I want this container. That's where the mentorship thing will come in. And I will have to link the application form down below. Just know that it is very selective in the sense that the dog is doing crazy. That's all right.
Her best friend dog just came in. So now they're going to be...
They're going to be
the door's closed. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you're ready, because you're ready to make a large investment in yourself, in as far as like, let's commit to this, let's have this happen, that does exist. Just know it is selective, because I also, in integrity, I am selective with people, because I want to make sure that if people are going to put that money down and commit their time, that it is going to work for them. So it is an application process. There's an interview process. It's not something that is for everyone. And like, again, that's why I have so many other things for people. It's just because in integrity, if I'm going to take on a client, I need to make sure it is a good fit for both of us. And part of that interview process is you getting to know me too, so that it's not, again, we're going all in. I want to make sure that this works for you. But anyway, Inner Circle is
I feel bad. Poor Sarah. You've been like trying not to, you've been trying not to talk about it, but it's been such a major part of my life in the last couple months. And so I've been blabbing about it and like kind of forcing you to talk about it more openly. So
no, it's
I'm
good.
Sorry.
It's good. You know what? My business coach was like, why the fuck are you not talking about this? And I'm like, it's a little bit of fear of overextending myself again, if I'm honest.
Of course. Yeah.
And
it's
also
safety for you too, also.
It is. Well, it's weird. No one else fucking does that. I was talking, there's another potential client that Stephanie recommended to me that I was talking to. And, and they were like, how did this come about? Like, why this? And they were like, I've never heard of something like that before. And really what it is me mending together my experience with mentorship in business and my mentorship with voice and how I got trained as a teacher, and combining those. I was like, why can't something like this exist for singer? Like, what the fuck? Like, why doesn't this exist? So that's why. And actually the whole reason it came about is a student asked me to make it. That's why it was created. That was back last year. I had a student step forward when I was like, it wasn't part of the plan. I was like, I can't teach like this anymore. I'm going to destroy my own voice. Like, I have to do group lessons. Sorry. And then I sent an email. That was devastating, by the way. I was so sad to do that, because like, I love my students. Like, and I had one student reach out and they're like, I have an online business. You need to make this thing. Like, because they had their own platform. So they're like, do this.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So anyway, if that exists, if that tickles your fancy, please know it's very selective. And if we decide it's not a good fit, it's not personal. It's just because of the package. And Stephanie's right. I need to talk about it. And
no,
if you're
I
a
feel
student,
bad.
if you're a student and you hear about it, I love you. And just know it's just very specific. But anyway, no. You don't have to feel bad. This is good. Stephanie's pushing me. Stephanie's been referring people to me. It's okay. It's good. Everything's good. But anyway, the other thing is I really want you guys to check out the membership in the meantime. That is for everybody. And we will dive into all of this kind of stuff. Is there anything you want to leave us with today? I think we might have to do part 2, Stephanie, like getting into the gigging versus Broadway versus stuff. We actually didn't talk about that at all.
Not at all.
That is okay. we'll just have to do it again. Maybe you'll be a guest, a regular like DJ.
Fun. Yeah. We'll do a separate one with the actual work stuff. It was interesting doing this whole mentorship with you while I was gigging so much. I had so many different songs to bring to you all the time.
You did. You were like working your fucking ass off. You were like hopping.
Yeah, I mean, I can leave this as a teaser maybe for the next time I come on, but it's been a really fun time in my life. I've spent about a decade on Broadway. I love Broadway and I do want to do it. I'm like, just in case the casting directors hear this, it's not that I don't want to do it. It's just that I am finding that in my 30s, I am wanting a little more control over my artistry and my career. I just need a little more agency over my finances, my career. And so this last year has been me focusing on how to do that. And I found a lot of success, at least planting seeds in the concert industry. I'm feeling like things are starting to finally pay off. I'm starting to see connections that can lead to bigger things, but it was a very intentional kind of like, let me split my artistry into 3 parts now. Yeah. I was just performer and I did like it, but I did feel like other parts of me were not being fully explored. And so now I'm like, the performance part of me is still a big part of me and it's also my chief income source. But there's other parts of me. I like vocal producing. That's a separate thing. I also really enjoy creation. I like writing the music. I like arranging things together. I like collaborating with people to make new things that will hopefully eventually become passive income sources. So just kind of thinking more as a businesswoman, which is another thing you have also inspired me so much with, because a lot of these things take investments, big financial investments, but you don't really get the payoff without the risk. And so like exploring my comfortability with risk has been interesting. I mean, the payoff with you was so obviously worth it. And I think that has been my experience with every time I've invested back into myself or into whatever I'm interested in. I put all my money into it and I also don't eat out. Like it does take a lot of sacrifice. You know what I mean?
But it's
like
compromise. Well, that's the thing with money.
Compromise.
I've done this. I've done like soul. I'm gonna have to do more money episodes because I've healed my relationship with investment and money so deeply.
Yeah.
Listen, the stuff that you guys do to fucking sabotage what you say you want, you don't put investments where you want to go. And some of it's fear because we're not sure if it's gonna work or not, right? There's risk. However, you once again spending it on something that's like, what is that fucking doing? Like this is like, listen, this is an example. Like I enjoy FabFitFun for like a moment for fun. Like it's like a fun expense. But like sometimes when I hear people spending money on things like that, they're like, and then they're like, what, I can't afford a lesson. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing?
It really just, it really is a case by case scenario. I mean,
what brings them joy, right?
Yeah, and finances talk about an emotional thing. Jesus, that's a whole separate. There are many podcasts and books and things about that definitely I've done some deep work with as well. Yeah. But it's so emotional, and I recognize that I come with the privilege of having had all my needs met growing up. Like that's a big reason I can even talk about this. You know?
Yeah, that's true. Yes. Yeah. And this is, again, acknowledging. When I start talking about money, I want to acknowledge that, like, I understand everybody comes from a different situation, you're in different places. And at the same time, there is a point where it's, you know, I know there's inequities that exist that keep people down. That is being acknowledged.
Definitely.
And we can also, on the other end, a lot of us can choose some other choices as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, you really do have to. This is, for me, I'm a Ramit Sethi girl. I listened to his podcast. I read his book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich.
I love Ramit. Yes.
I love it. Yeah. I had, and talk about psychology. Like he does a podcast where it's like couples. This is not sponsored, but he does like couples and talks through the mental, emotional baggage behind that. But it was very important for me, and highly recommend everybody also diving into that for themselves.
I honestly, Stephanie, we're gonna have to have a couple more episodes, I think, on talking about different shit, because there's just so much we could talk about.
We're definitely we're in line. I think we're aligned when it comes to
we're in line.
When it comes to how we feel about development and growth and investments and all of that.
Yeah. Well, just for sake of time, because I have to hop off, and I gave a free lesson to anyone that leaves a 5-star. Well, not anyone. There's a drawing that happens if you leave a 5-star review.
I was like, that is massively generous. I was like,
no.
How could
Every
you
single
possibly?
person. No, I can't. I literally can't. So
You don't
that's.
have time,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, I don't have time. But I will say this. I'll leave off here. If you loved this episode and you leave us a 5-star review and you submit a picture of that written review to us, singerspath@gmail.com, and you write it on Apple Podcast, you let us know you did that. We enter you to win a drawing for a free lesson. And that's what I have to hop off here to do because I'm going to be giving our winner a free 30-minute lesson.
Wow.
So I'm really excited. Yeah. And it's a way of giving back because like you're taking your time to write about something. I really hope you really enjoy it. This episode has been beautiful. And I think if any of you are listening and you're like, what the fuck? Like, I know I have such a complicated relation with my voice. Like, sometimes we can get distanced from our joy, from the whole reason we started. We sometimes are like, what am I doing this for? Like, there's some really big questions. Yeah, like, why am I doing this? How do I return to myself? How do I return? There's anger. How did I get away from how I used to feel about my voice? This used to be for me. What the fuck happened? Like, there's so many layers that artists go through. Again, check out the Singer's Path Inner Circle membership. We will be diving into those. There will be actual things to help you heal this with yourself. But again, if you're checking it out, the ad ran, but just a reminder, the special founders rate ends, I think January 7th. So if you want it the lowest it's ever going to be and you want to lock it in for fucking ever, that you got to get in there, okay? Yeah, and
that's a
guys,
great deal.
We're talking about investments too. It's less than a subway ride a day, okay? It's less than $2 a day. So if you're rocking and rolling with anything we're saying, check it out. But anyway, Stephanie, I just want to thank you so much for coming on today. We're going to have you back so we can talk about more things.
Absolutely. I know. You and I can just gab forever.
I know. Well, some of it's wandering around and getting, some for me, getting to the point. What is the point? Sometimes I'll have an intro that lasts 10 minutes long, then I made 0 points.
Me too. I just kind of like throw paint at the wall and then eventually something will stick, but
yeah, eventually something will make sense, right? Anyway, thank you for coming on, Stephanie.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. This helps me get this information out to more artists all over the world. Let's work together to spread the joys of music. Until next time, I'm your host, Sarah Bishop, signing off from the Singer's Path podcast. Thanks for listening.